Left-hander Matt Moore had a superb sophomore season in 2013, tying for third in the American League in wins with 17. Tonight, Matt makes his 2014 debut versus the Toronto Blue Jays. Tonight's Wednesday Showdown is brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. The opening series of the brand new season continues tonight. Game 3 from Tropicana Field. Third game of a 4-game series between the Tampa Bay Rays and the Toronto Blue Jays. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an evening of Rays baseball. With Brian Anderson, I'm Dwayne Stats. We'll be hearing from Todd Callis in just a bit. Well, the young lefty, 24-year-old all-star from a year ago, Matt Moore, goes to the mound. He's trying to get off to the same kind of start this year that he had last year, B.A.
Oh, that's exactly right. You know, on his way to winning those 17 games last year, he won 8 of his first 9 starts of the season. Just came out of the gate red hot, and he did it with, pretty simple arsenal of pitches. He goes with 3 of them. Explosive 4-seam fastball. He'll then mix in a very sharp curveball and a changeup, straight changeup, that he's not afraid to throw to lefties or righties. I'll tell you this, when he has all 3 of those pitches clicking, he is one of the best pitchers in the game. And that's what he's hoping for tonight.
Matt has made 7 career starts against the Blue Jays. He's figured in 5 of those, winning 4 of 4-1. And an ERA of 3.28 in his short career, young career, against this Toronto ball club. Big news for the Rays today, extension. And Chris Archer will have more on that when we return, moments away from the Rays and the Jays tonight at the Trop.
Chris Archer next to the skipper, Joe Madden. Archer will pitch tomorrow in the series finale. He was the big story of the day earlier when at a noon press conference, the Rays announced that Chris Archer had been signed to an 8-year contract. That includes club options in 2020 and 2021. It's guaranteed for $25.5 million, and it can be worth a maximum of $43.75 million if all the incentives are reached. Archer finished third last year in Rookie of the Year balloting in the American League, and he was the AL Pitcher of the Month in July. When he talked about the new deal, he thought back to some people who told him he could never play the game, and overcoming adversities made him a little emotional.
For any kid out there who has been told that he can't do something, I mean, I'm living proof that you can. And whatever it is, whether it's sports, whether it's school, whether you want to be a general manager of a baseball team or a professor, whatever it is, you're fully capable of doing it. If you put in 100% purpose and intent, you'll be rewarded.
Today, rewarded with an 8-year contract. It is our first Web Wednesday of the year. How about Dwayne and B.A. catching up on a little pregame reading? There will be a lot more reading this year on Rays broadcast to get ready for Web Wednesday. Tweet us your questions at Sun Sports Rays with the hashtag AskRays. Ask whatever topics you like, including whatever the Rolling Stone front cover may be. Kiss or baseball questions, Chris Archer's contract, all that coming up. 3 minutes and 16 seconds and counting down as Sean Rodriguez, Will Myers, and the rest of the Rays get ready to take on Mark Buehrle in Toronto. Matt Moore on the mound tonight for Tampa Bay. We'll have all the action right around the corner. Enjoy.
Rays and the Blue Jays have divided the first two. The Rays winning opening day 9-2, dropping last night's game 4-2. They had the tying run in scoring position as the game ended. So this is the third game of the series. Tonight's lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. For John Gibbons, Melky Cabrera leads off, followed by Colby Rasmus and then Jose Bautista. The cleanup man, first baseman Edwin Encarnacion, 3 out of 9 against Matt Moore in his career. Deanna Navarro catches. Moises Sierra is the DH. Brett Laurie back at third, hitting 7th, with Mycer Asturis in the 8th spot at second base, and Jonathan Diaz at shortstop. He will bat 9th.
Well, taking the mound tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays, left-hander Matt Moore. His season numbers from a year ago: 27 starts, 17-4 record, outstanding. But it was his start that really got him rolling towards those numbers. Won 8 of his first 9 starts out of the gate. One of the best pitchers in all of baseball, and looking to continue what he did against the Blue Jays last year. He had 3 starts against the Blue Jays last year, 3 wins. Take a look at the D defense as it lines up behind Matt Moore in the outfield, left to right. Sean Rodriguez, Desmond Jennings, and Will Myers across the infield, third to first. Longoria, Escobar, Zobrist, and Loney. Jose Molina will be back behind the plate.
Rays with this one tonight, another one tomorrow against the Blue Jays, and then the Texas Rangers come in over the weekend. Then the Rays hit the road for a 3-city trip. But tonight it's the Rays and the Jays, and Melky Cabrera steps in for Toronto. First pitch of this game is a little bit wide. First pitch presented by Pinch a Penny. A 1-1 count. The Rays going lefty, righty, lefty in this rotation. David Price superb in the opener Monday. Alex Cobb took the loss last night. And now Matt Moore this evening. And boy, last year when he was good, he was very good. He did have a stretch down the middle. He went on the disabled list with an elbow issue and had some control issues there for a stretch of 3 losses. Otherwise, outstanding. And the count is full.
Those 3 starts that you're talking about, Dwayne, you go back to June 4th through the 14th. I mean, really a 10-11 day span. He went 0-3 of that span, an ERA of just under 14.
Yeah, he really seemed to completely lose the feel of what he was attempting to do out there.
Yep, and that's the key for Matt, the consistency of the delivery and the command, because when he has it, he's one of the best there is.
Lined into center for a base hit. Jennings with the pickup, and Cabrera is aboard. And really for the Rays tonight, aside from trying to win every game that they play, the headline of this game is Matt Moore, and will it come together for him?
Well, he definitely has the pitches to work with. This was a fastball that just caught a little bit too much plate. Melky Cabrera, a nice even stroke on it, lining that out to center field. But you know, we've seen his curveball. His curveball is sharp. Gets a tremendous amount of downward spin with that pitch. The changeup's good. The fastball jumps on hitters.
Rasmus a ground ball. Nice pickup by Zobrist to get the out at first. Into second goes Cabrera. Zobrist, a very nifty play there.
Rasmus making a bid to try to sneak that ball out into right field, and good luck against this infield, because if you don't hit it right on the nose, Ben Zobrist ranges wide to his left, makes a nice play. No look towards second base there, not a chance. But you know, when he's able to put all those pitches together, we've seen it. He'll go through 3-4 innings where he just toys with opposing lineups. But then all of a sudden the command starts to leave him a little bit, and that's when he's susceptible.
Jose Bautista. Pitch is in there. Moore's right, as you point out, a great breaking ball and high octane velocity.
We've seen, too, that even in the starts where he doesn't have his great velocity, the ball still seems to jump onto the hitters, where they take swings where the gun may say 92, 93, but the swings are saying 95, 96.
And we saw a lot more of that last year than we did the year before. One the count to Bautista. 2-1. And we look at his spring numbers, they're pretty indicative of the challenge he faces. He was 3-2 this spring, had a little over 17 innings, struck out 18, gave up 20 hits, and walked 15 with 6 wild pitches. And that tells you all you need to know about arm strength and command, and trying to find that balance. So behind Molina, start of a move, but Cabrera stops and retreats to second.
Jose Molina just got enough of that baseball to keep it close, keep Cabrera at second base. Very important here, too, with 1 out and a prime run producer at the plate. You know, but that spring, too, is also a time where Matt Moore, you know, had said that he'd made a mechanical adjustment, that last year he felt that he was over-rotating just a little bit because it was really helping out his changeup, and felt comfortable at the time. Coming into this year, this spring training did not feel as comfortable, and so he's been trying to iron that out during the length of spring training, about 6 weeks.
Well, he misses with a fastball upstairs and walks Bautista. Well, on the surface, it seems to be a very smart thing to do. If you have a little command issue, try to simplify things, and I think that's what he had in mind.
Yeah, he was thinking of, you know, listen, not going to rotate as much, and I think that the rotating that he did do was very subtle. You know, I mean, it's not like he's a Louis Tiant type of pitcher. But if he can keep, you know, the head on the target, the arm coming through, and really reach and finish his pitches, you'll start to see, you know, that command come around consistently.
Here's the guy you worry about. They've got a number of good hitters in this lineup. Bautista, who just walked, being one of them. But Edwin Encarnacion, right now through the first 2 games, is 0 for 8 with 4 strikeouts. The Rays are just hoping that they can get through this series and continue that trend. But this guy can be deadly at the plate. 1-1. The count is 3 for 9 with a home run in his career against Matt Moore.
We referenced this, you know, in game 1, that this is a guy that had 20 more walks than strikeouts last year to go along with 36 home runs. One of the few power hitters that you see that has good command of the strike zone to put the ball in play.
It's a big cut there. Comes up empty. 1-2.
One thing that the Rays do, and this is a good fastball here by Matt Moore, and Encarnacion just gets a little bit long with that swing, not able to catch it. They do a very good job of identifying guys in opposing lineups that they do not want to allow them to beat them, and they execute.
And another one by him. Power on power, and Matt Moore wins that matchup, striking out Encarnacion.
Added a couple of miles an hour and added a couple of inches. 94 right around the letters.
Two gone with 2 men on. Leonard Navarro, who was the DH in the opener and then caught last night, catching again. You see those numbers from a year ago with Chicago with the Cubs. 313 home runs. Out of play. Strike 1. Cabrera singled with 1 out. Bautista walked. 2 outs now, and a strike the count to the former Ray, Leonard Navarro. The nice pitch right there after firing all that hard stuff, and then Had him way out in front over this one.
He creates so much spin with that curveball that it comes out of the hand and it has the same appearance to the hitter as a four-seam fastball. Same spin. You can see Navarro swinging well over that pitch.
Upstairs, and that curveball is something that Matt took to as a senior in high school. He learned it from Jordan Pacheco, who was a AAA catcher in the Rockies organization, and he was a friend of Matt's older brother. And he taught him the curveball, and he's had great depth with that pitch almost from the beginning.
Matt does a nice job of staying up nice and tall over the rubber. When he gets that hand out in front, lets that ball spin. You know, I saw I wouldn't call it a study, but a demonstration, if you will, this winter with a four-seam fastball and a 12-6 curveball. And you spin it backwards, you know, as hard as you do with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and then spin the ball over the top like a curveball. And then they show you from a hitter's vantage point what he sees. It looks exactly the same. And that's why you see guys with good down curveballs prefer the four-seamer. You can pick up the difference with the curveball and a two-seamer. Yep. You can see that difference. Four-seamer, curveball looks the same.
And right there, did Navarro go? That was a tough pitch, and he held up. Curveball. 2-2. You know, when a pitcher does things like that, it's just not fair.
You don't have a whole lot of time to make your mind up.
Yep.
Some of these guys that even when they have good breaking curveballs, there's a little hump as it comes out of the hand. Okay, hitter can pick that up, but if there's no hump coming out of the hand and it's a good down curve, good luck.
Broken bat, the roller hits the bag. What a recovery by Longoria to get the force play. Evan had that ball hit the bag, and that is some kind of quick reactions from the Gold Glove third baseman to get the Rays out of the inning. Another look as we go to break. Oh, yeah. In the first opening series, Desmond Jennings, who's going to lead it off for the Rays offensively. Lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Will Myers to follow Jennings, and then Ben Zobrist, Evan Longoria, Logan Forsythe, the DH against the lefty. James Loney in there. Sean Rodriguez 7th, Jose Molina 8th, and Yunel Escobar the 9th hitter. Pitch, Jennings takes a strike from Mark Buehrle.
Now, nothing new there from Mark Buehrle last season. 33 starts, 12 wins, ERA 4.15, over 200 innings pitched. But you talk about consistency. Mark Buehrle, 13 straight seasons of at least 30 starts, at least double-digit in the win column, and over 200 innings pitched.
Yeah. In 2001, he started that streak with just over 221 innings. This guy is resilient, and he sets a very quick pace. Most of us remember when he threw that perfect game against the Rays as a member of the White Sox. Jennings looking. Strike one. He was 12 and 10 last year in just under 204 innings of work for the Blue Jays.
Well, and what he's looking for is a quicker start. You know, if you look over his entire career, April is his worst month. And then once it starts to warm up, he starts to warm up. And obviously he came in, he had a nice spring training for the Blue Jays and is looking to translate that into the regular season. Because you remember, you know, with all the expectations last year, you know, R.A. Dickey got off to a little bit of a slow start. There were injuries. Mark Buehrle got off to a little bit of a slow start. And the Blue Jays, before you knew it, were in the hole and done. So looking for the quick jump this year.
Yeah, it was tough for them to overcome that tough start, and really they never did. It turned out to be a disappointing season for the Blue Jays. They have much higher hopes this year. Again, under John Gibbons. They were 74 and 88 overall last year, finishing fifth, 23 games back at the end of May. The first 2 months they were 23 and 32. Has never recovered from the slow start, and injuries, as you point out, prevented a great deal of that. Myers out on 3 pitches, out in front, 2 gone.
Let's take a quick look at the Blue Jay defense as it lines up tonight in the outfield, left to right. Melky Cabrera, Colby Rasmus, and Jose Bautista. Across the infield, third to first, Brent Laurie, Jonathan Diaz, Maicias Turris, and Edwin Encarnacion. Deanna Navarro will be behind the plate. Yeah, Dwayne, on that injury front, Toronto Blue Jays, there was only one other team that used the disabled list more last year, and that was the New York Yankees. So you had 2 division teams just devastated by injuries.
Ben still looking for his first hit of the year, but he's already seen a lot of pitches and drawn 3 walks. He's 0 for 6, but with 3 bases on balls. Lines it into left. Cabrera makes the catch, and it's a quick 1-2-3 first for Mark Buehrle. No score as we head into the second. devices. AT&T, rethink possible. Checkers, stop by your local Checkers April 6th for a free cone with purchase. And by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. Matchup of lefties tonight. Matt Moore goes to work. Moises Sierra, who is the DH in the club out of spring training, is out of options coming up through the Blue Jays farm system. Ahead of the count, 2-0. Moving and missing the fastball. Square the count. But Laurie is next, and then Myceris Stewart.
You're not going to have too many matchups, these left-handed pitchers, that display more of a contrast in styles.
Picked by Zobrist. Nice little play there. Zobrist backhands. Well, you're right about that. I mean, you look at Matt Moore, high octane. Buehrle has done it with control, setting a quick pace.
You're going to see Matt Moore's changeup tonight is going to be harder than most of Mark Buehrle's fastballs.
Yep. It's a good point.
There are different ways to get it done.
But Laurie comes out swinging at that first fastball, fouling it back. Headed into the stands.
And that was an example of what we were talking about in the first inning. That was a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. That's a good fastball, but that swing by Brett Laurie made it appear as if that pitch was 96, 97. You know, he's late, tardy, way up the right field line. Ball jumps on you.
Ooh, strike three call. So he makes quick work of Brett Laurie, picking up his second strikeout. Well, Matt got off to that great start last year, 8-0 to his first 11, and then recovered from a little stretch there in the next 16. Myceris Stewart takes a strike. Ball and a strike, 2 outs, bases empty. Two and one. With that great start last year, made the All-Star team. Pitched a perfect inning. Sends a popper into shallow right. Myers closing, and he retires the Blue Jays. 1-2-3 here in the second. Evan Longoria is going to lead it off for the Rays in the bottom of the second. Rays and the Blue Jays. No score. Evan Longoria will open the home half of the second inning against the 35-year-old left-hander Mark Buehrle. 3 of 8 through the first 2 games of the season. There's that fastball that came in the low 80s. I think that one hit 81. That's exactly what you were talking about. The contrast between Buehrle's off-speed stuff and even the fastball. And the changeup of Matt Moore, more velocity. Liner into center, and that's going to hang up for Rasmus, who makes the catch. 1 away. We'll check in with Todd Callis. Todd?
Dwayne, as you know, it's our first Web Wednesday of this season. There were a lot of questions so far about your guys' reading materials, but our first question is going to be about baseball. In light of Chris Archer signing an 8-year contract today, Steve on Twitter wants to know, what do you think the possibilities are of maybe the same thing happening for a Will Myers or an Alex Cobb? If you have any questions, send them to the boys at @SunSportsRays with the hashtag AskRays. They all are right there. How about that?
Well, how convenient that was to have them all along the railing there in the Rays dugout. Well, it makes all the sense in the world. Looper off the bat of Forsythe, and that's going to drop into center, picking up his first hit in a Rays uniform, getting the start against the lefty, a 1-out single. You know, it really makes sense the same way it did for Longoria on both ends.
Yeah.
And I thought the most impressive thing I heard from Archer today is just saying that he wouldn't pass up his first fortune. That makes all the sense. You're a pitcher. They're signing a young pitcher longer than they've ever signed a pitcher before. They like his makeup. They like him physically and his ability. And it's a great thing for a young pitcher. As he said, he'll make enough money to set up his family for generations after generations. Oh, what a catch by Rasmus on a hard hit ball by Loney. And the Rays are pretty smart doing that, because there are things like Super 2s, you know, when it comes to arbitration, and then you get into a year or two of free agency.
And you had better believe that the same thoughts are going into Alex Cobb and Will Myers, and I'm sure that, listen, if the questions are being asked of us and we're discussing it, the front office has discussed it. Maybe there's been contact with an agent. You never know, but you just have to find, you know, guys have to be willing to sign that deal. Some guys are more than willing to play it out, and other guys will look for that security up front and maybe take a little bit less than they otherwise could going year to year. So there's a lot of things that have to fit together perfectly, but you do see it happen more often than not with this organization, who they want a degree of certainty going forward. And now, you know, you look at their principals, you get Chris Archer, Matt Moore, Jake Odorizzi. They have, the team has control of those guys right there through 2019, and with the option years with Archer up to 2021. And so that's what, you know, they start to look at. Well, how long can we keep our young core together? So you better believe that those ideas are being bantied about.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. If we're talking about it here, the Rays front office has thought about that long before we started to talk about it, or even started to think about it, for that matter. You know, the basic terms of today's announcement on the long-term deal with Chris Archer. Rodriguez selling out there on that 3-1 count, and Buehrle had him out in front with a change. Full count.
That's where Mark Buehrle, 186 career victories, tons of experience. That's what he relies upon. It's not stuff. It's experience. It's guile. It's reading hitters, moving the ball around. Obviously not going to blow you away.
Oh, strike 3 call. Rodriguez thought he might have drawn the walk. That's a strike, says Jim Wolf, and the Rays are finished in the second. Ball game heads into the third, and we are scoreless. Back, and there's a great new way for you to experience it with Rays Flex Packs. These 3, 6, or 9 game packs offer fantastic savings, allow you to select any games you'd like during the season. To purchase your Flex Pack, call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Photos extra.
I have my first question of Web Wednesday, and I'll hashtag it.
Yes.
What? Good flex by Todd. Tremendous effort. You could see it in his face. But what's with the cut-off sleeveless T-shirt over the dress shirt and tie? Like what is going on with that shirt? Why? What is that? Like a white dickie, not RA.
Because he wanted the lower half of the tie in the photo.
Yeah.
That's a fashionable tie. You don't want to diminish the effect that it has on his ensemble. Diaz lifts it into right. Myers there to catch it. On a 1-1 pitch. He skies to right field. 1 away.
Left fielder, Melky Cabrera.
On the top of the order, Melky Cabrera, who opened the game with a single, eventually was forced at third. Play by Longoria off the bat of Navarro that hit the bag and took that big hop off the bag. One ball, no strikes. One. Close, but that's ball 2. 2-1. Behind another 3-ball count to Cabrera. 3-1. Back to the mound. Right there's Moore. And he takes care of Cabrera. Well, Matt Moore stayed right there with that one. You know, Xander Bogaerts got him in the spring, a little deflected shot that got him on a deflection on the face. Steady on this one.
Oh, watch the finish. He starts to spin, but that ball, you know, and that's where you get in a little bit of trouble when you start to spin off like that and you take the glove away from the vitals. Matt Moore able to make that play right there. And that, you know, that's another example of 3-1 count. A guy that's got a good fastball out on the mound. Melky Cabrera probably looking for a fastball, but if you put it in a good spot, still can get the desired result.
Rasmus grounded out to Zobrist in the first. Lifts it on the infield. The major league pop-up. Loney coming down, making the catch from first base. It's 1-2-3 back-to-back 1-2-3 innings for Moore. No score, middle of the third. Home half of the third in the game tonight and all season long. Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Jose Molina will open the bottom of the third. Buehrle's pitch is upstairs. Molina, Escobar, and Jennings. Two and 0. 294 with a home run against Buehrle. Molina in there takes a big cut. Was thinking long one there with that cut. So the count is 2-1. You know, Buehrle, as we point out, how remarkably consistent he's been. 200 innings, double figures and wins throughout his entire career. This one off Buehrle, deflecting in front of the mound, and the toss to first. Molina is out. Another thing about Buehrle, of course, the Rays well aware that he has a perfect game in his career. That was as a member of the White Sox against the Rays back in 2009. He has 2 no-hitters, one of those the perfect game, but he actually has pitched 3 games in his career in which he's faced only 27 hitters. He threw a no-hitter against the Texas Rangers first back in 07, and he walked a hitter and picked him off. That was Sammy Sosa, by the way. Picked him off and faced only 27 hitters when he no-hit Texas back in 07. Escobar takes a ball, and then in 04, a few years earlier in Cleveland, shortstop, and a nice pick by Diaz. 2 gone. Buehrle shut out the Indians and Cliff Lee 14-0. It was a 2-hit shutout. Omar Vizquel got a hit. Tim Laker got a hit, your favorite catcher.
Yes.
And he threw 2 double play balls. Faced 27 men, a 2-hit shutout. So he has 3 games in his career in which he's faced only 27 hitters in a game.
Remarkable.
1 strike on Jennings with that foul ball. But he's so resourceful. I can't think of another pitcher who can change speeds. He can throw ground balls. You know, his ground ball rate now is not extraordinary. But he had a year or a couple of years when he threw over 30 double play ground balls.
Well, that's a big pitch. You know, he's had the good changeup, but he's also had the good cutter. So he would get the bad contact off the cutter also.
Yep.
And that's where that ball comes in, hits the label of the bat, takes all the steam off of it, drop it right down there for easy ground balls.
Ground ball short. Diaz pops up with this one. Jennings is out of there, and it's a quick 1-2-3. We go to the 4th. No score. Blue Jays. Matt Moore on the hill. We saw that brought it back to the mound in the third. Well, here's what happened this spring with Xander Bogaerts. Matt got that hand up there to deflect it, covered to make the play, and then holds steady with that comebacker off the bat of Melky Cabrera in the third inning.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, Dwayne, but it seems like there has been an uptick on, you know, balls. We've seen a couple of them, horrific shots off pitchers' heads here at Tropicana Field. It's happened elsewhere, a lot of close calls. And really, I mean, I think there's a lot of different reasons for that. But I think that there's a couple of things that you can trace back and start to put a face to why that's happening more times than maybe in the past, or more often than it's happened.
Bautista, he takes a strike. Well, it's interesting to try to break that out.
Yeah.
And I know you have some basic theories about that. And we talked about that between innings, and it makes as much sense as anything I've heard.
You know, just a couple of thoughts that I've had is, first of all, the teaching of hitting is so much better, and it starts so much younger. When we played ball, we went out and hit. I mean, even into high school.
There's a drive deep to left field. Get that one. Home run for Bautista. That's his first, and it's going to make it a 1-0 ball game. So Bautista connects.
He's able to get underneath a breaking ball, and boy, oh boy, when you're able to do that, you're going to get tremendous carry. Not like he needs a whole lot of help, but look at that. No doubter.
Well, most hitters are taught to hit it back to the middle. Bautista is not one of those guys.
No.
And neither is this guy, Encarnacion, who takes a big rip. But that's an interesting point. You know, you're right. For years, kids would pick up a bat and just go swing it, and they tended to probably pull the ball more than anything. It was a sort of a natural thing to do. But there is a lot of early teaching about hitting the ball up the middle now.
Yeah, you're so more well versed in, you know, as you come through these travel teams at the younger ages with good hitting coaches, guys that know what they're talking about. And so, yeah, so the hitting has gotten, the teaching has gotten better. Guys have that approach of trying to go up the middle. You know, you start to take that idea, then you start to combine it with, you don't see guys get knocked down like they used to. Hitters are much more comfortable in the box than maybe they've been in past generations, because you just don't see feet moved anymore. So you've got comfortable hitters in the box that are looking for pitches middle away, you know, looking out over the plate for pitches to get extension on. They're better taught at going back up the middle. I think, you know, that and amongst a couple other variables creates a perfect storm on why we're seeing more of it.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I look back at times past when you were right about just picking up a bat and swinging it, and I've been blessed to see a couple of grandsons who aren't very old play youth baseball now. The older one is just 9. There are disciplined hitters. They're not going to swing at bad pitches.
Right.
Well, that wasn't the case before. I mean, we just, if you threw it, we were swinging. But these young guys now, I mean, young guys, you know, you're talking 9 years old and such. They're pretty selective. And it's not the exception. You see a number of young hitters like that. So if it starts there, you know that it's spawning a whole generation of hitters who are going to try to go up the middle more and have a much better basic approach to hitting.
Yes.
And many who played this game before ever did. Encarnacion checks in time. The count goes full. Here's another look at that.
He did hold up.
If you're strong enough, you can do that. And he is. Hot shot past Longoria, headed for the corner. Rodriguez plays it out. It's a double for Encarnacion. 2 hard hit balls here in the 4th inning.
Now that was a strong swing on a fastball down, just dropping the head. And just zipping that. Watch how quickly this gets by Evan at third base.
Evans made a couple of great plays here the last couple of games, but that ball was smoked.
Boy, he still was within an eyelash of making that play. Now that's why they call it the hot corner. Balls get down there in a hurry.
Buehrle takes it away. So the Blue Jays get a run in the 4th inning. This was big news last year in April with the start Moore had when he gave up a run. He had a 1.13 earned run average for the month of April last year, getting off to that overall 8-0 start. Molina spends a little time with him out there after he has fallen behind Navarro. 2-0.
One thing that Matt Moore was able to do pretty much all of last year is when he got into trouble, he was very good with runners in scoring position. He finds himself in that situation now, but for the season, holding opposing hitters to just a 200 average in those situations, that goes a long way towards limiting the damage.
And he falls way behind Navarro. Just with a low fastball. Sierra on deck. There's a strike. Blue Jays had a little bit of a threat in the 1st inning, left 2 on. Back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings for Moore in the 2nd and 3rd against the Blue Jays, but they have struck here in the 4th. There's a base hit into right. Encarnacion will cross the plate. That makes it 2-0. Navarro last year very good from the right side of the plate and serves this one into right, driving in the 2nd run of the inning.
Oh, he worked himself into a good count and then didn't try to do too much. You see that, just a short little swing there by Navarro in a 3-1 count, and he just serves the ball out into right field and knows full well that he just drove in another run for Toronto.
Still nobody out. A homer, double, and single to begin the 4th. I would say Sierra is the hitter. Moore got him on a ground ball to 2nd in the 2nd inning.
When you saw Sierra taking a look at the Rays infield alignment, and with James Loney holding Navarro on, a huge hole on the right side with Ben Zobrist shading up the middle, you can see right here all this room that Sierra has to work with if he so chooses.
Too tight there. 2-0. Sierra's been in the Blue Jays organization since 2006. Had a couple stints with them in 2012 and again last year. He was in 35 games last year. The right side, that's going to be out of play. 2-1. Sierra does have some pop in his bat. A couple of seasons in the minor leagues with 17 and 18 home runs. And when he was up with the Blue Jays In 2012, he had 6 home runs in just under 150 at bats. Way high. So he's in a 3-1 count now. Strike. Sierra, the DH tonight. Played this club out of spring training. They a little battle for the extra outfield spots. He's from the Dominican. He played winter ball there and had a very good year down there this winter. And a cut and a miss. Fastball by him. Sierra's the first out. That's a big out for Matt Moore.
I'll tell you what, just so well located. If you're going to go with the fastball here, again, he goes right up by the letters, very reminiscent of the fastball he got Encarnacion with his first at bat. And I'll tell you what, if Matt Moore can get to the point where he can go to that pitch when he wants and then play the curveball off of that, that is a deadly combo. That's a deadly combo for anybody with a 4-seam and a curveball, let alone with the kind of explosiveness that Matt Moore has.
Stopped by Molina there on that pitch. 1 ball, no strikes. Myers in right center. 2 outs and Navarro still at first. So a nice recovery to this point by Moore. Trying to limit the damage to the 2 runs. And he has Astros, the second baseman, up now. Down to third. Nice pickup by Longoria. And the scoop over at first by Loney. Nicely done on that Rays infield again. So a recovery by Moore in the Rays to hold the Blue Jays to 2. And another outstanding play by Evan Longoria. 2-0 Toronto. Against Mark Buehrle before, and we go back to July of 2009 when he threw that perfect game. Dwayne Wise with that catch. the catch of the game. And Buehrle, through his first official perfect game, his second no-hitter, but as we mentioned earlier, the third time that he pitched a game in which he faced just 27 hitters, and he threw that one in Chicago as a member of the White Sox against the Rays on July 23rd, 2009. 1-1, Will Myers against Buehrle. Rays have a hit tonight and a chop down to third. Lowry's play is throw to first, and so Myers is the first out. Since that perfect game, the Rays have done everything to even the score, and Buehrle's had trouble in 5 starts since that perfect game against the Rays.
Well, yeah, I mean, ERA just under 7, but that opponent's average 3.39. You just got to stay patient. You know, it's tough because Mark Buehrle's going to try to entice you to swing at his pitches. He's going to show you some pitches that are close. You know, he works so quickly, and his pitches, hitters will think are so hittable. You sit on the bench, all of a sudden you look up in the 6th, 7th inning, you're like, hey guys, we got to get something going here. He's very quickly put us away.
Well, if you're a pitcher, and you're the guy to ask because you're the pitcher in the booth, but you really want to control the tempo.
Yes.
You want to control the environment. It's your game, and he does that as well as anybody.
He absolutely does. He doesn't give the hitters a whole lot of time to think either. It's a game plan. They come up with a plan against him. He's got a plan. He feels like he's going to be able to out-execute you. He's very good at reading hitters. And so he gets the pitch, throws it, sees a little something, knows right what he wants to go to next, and that's what he does.
How about that sequence right there?
I mean, come on.
And that's exactly what he did. He just took charge. He hardly gives a hitter time to recalibrate between pitches.
That's exactly right, and that's why it's going to be imperative, and he ends up closing him out there looking on an 83-mile-an-hour fastball on the inside corner, just perfectly located. It just goes to show you, you don't need 95 to get it done, but you better know what you're doing with it, and he certainly does. And you're right, does not allow them. That's why you'll see a lot of hitters, especially second, third time through, start to step out on him a little bit more, try to make him wait, take him out of his comfort zone, because if not, he'll catch that ball standing on the rubber, which I think he just did right there. I mean, watch him. By the time he catches this ball, he's right behind the rubber, ready to go. Waste no time.
And Evan makes him wait a little bit here because somebody finally stepped out on him. With the bases empty and 2 gone. So the idea is to get your team off the field as quickly as you can. And he thought he was going to get his team off the field with that pitch. Pretty close. And it's a full count.
Anybody not named Evan Longoria, that's probably the end of the inning.
And that is the end of the inning. Strike 3 called, 5 strikeouts on the evening. We're headed into the 5th here tonight. The Rays trail the Jays 2-0.
As we head to the 5th inning, it is a Web Wednesday, which means if you have a question for the announcers, you can tweet us at SunSportsRays with the hashtag AskRays. There they are, ladies and gentlemen. Dwayne Stats, Brian Anderson. Here's a two-part question, which are totally unrelated. One's baseball and one's what you guys were reading earlier. Amy wants to know, BA, who's your favorite member of KISS? And Julie and Pat suggested that maybe Jamie Wright should be one of the candidates. Right. And then also they want to know, another fan wants to know about Cesar Ramos and if his role might be a little different this year than it was last year, guys.
All right. Well, let's go to Cesar Ramos first.
We'll go to, because mine's a simple answer.
Yeah, then we'll go to KISS later. Cesar Ramos, I think, is the safety net on this pitching staff. He's a guy who you can use for extended innings out of the bullpen. If you need him to start, he can do that. He's a lefty in the bullpen, so if you need to match up, you can do that. I think he is quietly a very, very valuable part of this pitching staff.
Yeah, there's so much of the guys at the back end get all of the play, the former closers, the closer, guys who can close. But I agree with you 100%, Dwayne. The fact that he was in the running for the 5th starter spot and put on the performance that he did during the course of spring training, you can ask this guy to do just about anything. And not only can he do it, he's willing to do it. And that's what makes him a great teammate.
2-strike pitch to Diaz, fouled off. Now your favorite member of KISS?
There could only be one.
Nope.
There could only be one, and that's Gene Simmons. And for a lot of reasons that we're not going to talk about on a family program such as baseball, but listen.
Yeah, we'll have to catch BA on the after the show. And a few other places we'll catch her.
Just getting started.
That's right. Only game 3. 1 ball, 2 strikes here to Diaz with Cabrera and Rasmus due up next. More touch for 2 runs in the 4th. Longoria takes care of this one, and Diaz hustling down the line is retired for the first out in the 5th. Swing around to the top side, Melky Cabrera. So far, you get the feeling that the Rays need to keep this Toronto ball club in check as much as they can. Buehrle has been in command. There's a strike to Cabrera.
Well, he's been good in this ball game. That last inning, those last 2 at-bats were. And that was a clinic.
Base hit to left. Rodriguez plays it on a hop. Cabrera is 2 for 3 today. Runner at first with 1 out. Now time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag #RaysFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast brought to you by AT&T. Colby Rasmus. 0 for 2. Lefty hitter against Moore. Pitches upstairs. You know, Rasmus came into this game 1 of 10 with 5 career strikeouts against Moore. 0 for 2 right now, and he's up in the 2nd spot.
It's got a Joe Madden feel to it.
It does. You know, the thought occurred to me, he could be in there just to break up a series of right-handed hitters. John Gibbons says, look, I don't want him to get a groove facing right-handed hitters getting down into Bautista and Encarnacion. So throw a lefty up there and then make him come back and face a right-hander to face the big sluggers in their lineup. 1-2 the count. The Rays have a shift on for Rasmus against the lefty Moore. It's 2-2. Bautista is on deck. He homered his last time. Cabrera is on first for the second time tonight, reaching on a base hit. It's 2-2. Boston and Baltimore at Camden Yards, tied 2-2 in the bottom of the fourth. The Orioles hitting have just scored a couple. David Ortiz, a home run for Boston. Nelson Cruz, a home run for Baltimore. Count is full. Matt with 3 strikeouts tonight. With 1 walk, 2 runs, 5 hits. Big 3-2 pitch here to Rasmus with Bautista looming on deck. And he loses him. Rasmus draws the walk. Pushes Cabrera into second base, and we'll get Jose Bautista up there.
Well, you can understand the look of concern on pitching coach Jim Hickey's face and Joe Madden. That pitch right there, borderline top of the zone, does not get the call. And now all of a sudden, first and second, and the 2 most dangerous hitters in the lineup back to back.
Strikes. Bautista connecting for the home run in the 4th inning.
Big swing on a breaking ball, able to get underneath it, reverse that spin.
Picks up the corner, outside corner, and it's 1-1. And it's 2-1. Skies it to center. Jennings makes the catch.
That is a precarious situation to be in. A guy who had just homered off you in his previous at bat. You're behind him in the count 2-1, and Matt Moore comes up with a changeup and just screws the timing up of a Jose Bautista just enough to get him to pull off this and pop it up. It was subtle, but Jose Bautista lets you know right there, just a little bit out of sync. Big out.
And another big one to get in Edwin Encarnacion, who doubled his last time and scored on Navarro's base hit.
How about the edging done on that beard? That's perfect.
That takes a little time.
That is perfect.
Precision.
What if they travel their ground screw guy?
Yeah, you couldn't manicure an infield much better than that. One count. Uh-oh. Down the line. That ball is foul. Encarnacion just a little early, pulling it to the foul side of the yellow hole down there. So it's a 1-2 count. Upstairs with the hard stuff. 2-2. 2 on, 2 out. Blue Jays had a couple runners in the first. A perfect second for Moore, perfect third. Then he was touched for 2 runs in the fourth, gave up 2 runs, 3 hits, and left a man on. Now 2 on, 2 out in the fifth. Just a piece of that one off Encarnacion's foot. Walk that off. We mentioned earlier at the outset, Matt 4-1 lifetime against the Blue Jays, and he's won all of his decisions here at the Trop in 5 starts here. He's 3-0. But down 2-0 tonight in the 5th inning. And strike 3 call. You got him with the off-speed pitch. 2 men left on base. Bottom of the 5th coming. 2-0 Toronto. Every Sunday this season, and this Sunday the Rays take on the Rangers. Kids 14 and under get a Desmond Jennings baseball buddy presented by Matchup. Promotions while supplies last. Sundays also feature kid autograph sessions, run the bases, and lots more fun activities. Courtesy of the Tampa Bay Times. For tickets, visit RaysBaseball.com or call 888-FAN-RAYS. Logan Forsythe, 1 ball, no strikes. It's 1-1. Forsythe, who came into the year with a lifetime .290 average against lefties. 2 for 2 tonight on Buehrle.
Bringing our season total up to $3,600.
Well, what Mark Buehrle wants you to do on that pitch is get a little bit too extended. Allow it to jam you. Forsythe able to pull his hands in enough to shoot that ball down into the corner and get the Rays started out quickly here in the 5th.
So the Rays, for the first time tonight, have put the leadoff man on, and he's in scoring position at that. 1 ball, no strikes. Foul ball against the Buehrle fastball. And a good swing that time. Makes the count to 1-2. Buehrle just a little over 50 pitches here, working to his second hitter in the 5th inning. By contrast, Matt Moore has 91 pitches through the first 5.
I don't think overall that's surprising. That's been something that Matt Moore is continuing to try to whittle down, or his pitch counts.
Only swings and misses out in front. That's strikeout number 6, and the first out. Buehrle comes back to get a very big out after giving up the leadoff double.
Mark Buehrle does not rack up a ton of strikeouts, but he got a big one there, especially from a guy like Loney, who is going to usually put a very good at bat on you. Even if he does make an out, it's a productive out. That's Mark Buehrle adding and subtracting.
See what Sean Rodriguez can do. Sean caught looking in the 2nd inning. 0 for 1. 1 ball, no strikes. He's ahead 2-0. That's a shot grabbed by Laurie, and a quick throw to second, not in time. A great play by Laurie to rob Sean Rodriguez. Boy, Rodriguez was all over that one, and so was Laurie. Or maybe the line drive was all over Laurie.
Yeah, it certainly was, and almost spun him around in the air. This ball was torched. It almost did flip them back around. Brett Laurie, watch this. That was a blast. Spins him around.
That's the second out. A hard hit ball indeed by Sean Rodriguez. Alina lifts it into right. Bautista's there to catch it. The Rays, after getting the leadoff double from Forsythe, leave him there. Through 5, 2-0 Toronto.
not only warm your heart, but it illustrates just how close this Rays Nation fan base really is. Meet Randy Omens. She goes by Ro. And she is from Arizona, and she is also blind. She lost her sight due to multiple sclerosis, and she is the biggest Rays fan you will ever meet. Well, she shared on Twitter that she wanted to come to the Trop to see a Rays series this year from Arizona, and Rays Nation made it happen. They set up a PayPal account. They started a hashtag Road to Trop. And she came today. She threw out a ceremonial first pitch. She was also inducted to the Rays Fan Hall of Fame. It was really special. Oddly enough, Dwayne and B.A., she fell in love with the Rays after hearing Longo's walk-up song, Down and Out, by Tantric. And he made a sizable donation to help get her here.
That's a great gesture, and it shows you sometimes you don't realize the reach of this game and what these guys do. And it's a great story. First pitch to Deanna Navarro is popped up. Zobrist makes the catch.
Games.
Number 14, Moises.
So one away. And here's Sierra. Jose Sierra. Pitch is a strike or a ball, maybe just off the plate. 1-0, very close. Brandon Gomes busy up the right field line in the bullpen. One. Sierra looking for the hard stuff. Got the changeup. The count.
Right now he's got in between pitches, way out in front of the changeup, gets the fastball there. Going to be able to pull the trigger.
Charged by Zobrist. Sierra out. It's 2 gone.
Small sample size right there of what Matt Moore is capable of all game long against any team out there. Change up when you don't expect it. The fastball can still catch you by surprise, and then follow that up with a good curveball. Weak swing, easy out.
Yeah, that's almost Buehrle-like. It's a great sequence. Brett Lawrie. Like Buehrle-like, except with velocity. Interesting contrast, and two outstanding pitchers on the mound here tonight. A 2-0 count to Lawrie. 35-year-old left-hander, Mark Buehrle. You never really know it by looking at Buehrle, but you know, you every once in a while hear about a player who in high school got cut from his high school team. He was cut twice from his high school team, and he was only about 5 feet tall. He was very diminutive in high school, and you wouldn't think that now. Pretty good sized guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the count to Lawrie. And ball 4. Blue Jays got a 2-out base runner. It's 100 pitches more now with 101. And it's Sarah Stores in the batter's box.
I think if Matt Moore wants to factor in this decision, hopefully have a chance to have the Rays bail him out, get a win here. This is the guy that he's going to need to get, maybe his last hitter.
You got Astros back in the fourth on a very good play by Evan Longoria. He's made a couple of outstanding plays tonight. That's about par for the course for him down there at third base. You're going to see 2 or 3 a night, it seems. Now Moore falls behind. Here's the number 8 hitter. You don't want to do this. McGee has joined Gomes in the bullpen. While the Red Sox have taken a 4-2 lead on Boston. The Red Sox have taken a 4-2 lead on the Orioles, with Boston hitting in the top of the 6th. 4-2 Red Sox over the Orioles. Two and 0 the count. There's a strike. Astros have taken a 1-0 lead in the first over the Yankees. Houston got off to a 6-0 start last night against New York and won. And they've taken an early lead in the game tonight. Now 2-2 the count to Astros. Boston took that lead on a 2-run home run by Mike Napoli in Baltimore. Driven toward the alley into left center field. Sliding pickup by Rodriguez to third goes Laurie. In at second is Stores. Rodriguez hustling over there to cut it off.
Yeah, and you may want to star that play right there by Sean Rodriguez because of his hustle, sliding, keeping that ball from getting by him. Brett Laurie was low flying around second base looking to score, but this hustle right here, cutting this ball off, kept Laurie from scoring. Obviously with 2 outs on contact, he's gone. And he's got every inkling right here, and he's going to try and score. Held up late.
And the other great thing about that Rodriguez play, he got rid of the ball quickly after making that stop. By Sean Rodriguez. Runners second and third with 2 outs for Toronto. Brandon Gomes will take over on the mound. Jonathan Diaz is due, but Adam Lind, who hit that big first inning home run last night, will come off the bench to pinch hit for the Toronto infielder.
Brandon Gomes comes on, looking to clean up the last out of this inning and get the Rays back to the dugout down by just 2. See his numbers from a year ago. Brandon has made a mechanical adjustment where he has sped up his delivery towards home, lowered the arm angle just a little bit, and there have been a lot of wonderful benefits. We're not going to see it quite yet here with Lind and the intentional walk.
Yeah, this will load the bases with the switch hitting Cabrera due next. So with first base open in a second and third situation, the intentional walk issued. Will give the Rays then a force play at any base as they try to get out of this inning. They're down 2-0 right now. Blue Jays left 2 on in the first, another man on in the fourth, and they left 2 men aboard in the 5th inning. With this intentional walk, it loads the bases in the 6th. Lynn has been issued the intentional walk, and here comes Joe Madden out. Another pitching change, and we'll return in a moment. Sports brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. Trade winds, Island Resort, so many ways to just let go on St. Pete Beach. And by Navy Federal Credit Union, 4 million members, 4 million stories. Navy Federal Credit Union. Tropicana Field tonight in the 6th inning. Blue Jays lead 2-0. They have a threat. Jake McGee gets the call from the bullpen. Brandon Gomes effectively burned there, giving up the intentional walk to Lynn. Goins runs for him, and now it's McGee on to face Melky Cabrera.
And Cabrera with already 2 hits tonight off the left-hander Matt Moore.
Cabrera lifts a fly ball to center. Jennings puts it away, and the Blue Jays leave them loaded. Bottom of the 6th coming. Still 2-0 Toronto.
Down. It is 2-0. Toronto leading Tampa Bay as we head to the bottom half of the 6th inning. We're out at the porch, guys. The very popular area here at Tropicana Field. Always activity going on out here, which leads us to our first Twitter poll question of the year. A lot of fans out here think the Rays are going to have a lot of success in 2014. That is our Twitter poll. How do you think the Rays are going to fare this year? Hashtag TB1, they're going to eat last and win the World Series. Hashtag TB2, they're going to be the AL champs but lose, similar to 2008. Hashtag TB3, just like last year, reach the playoffs but not the World Series. Hashtag TB4, no playoffs but over 500. Hashtag TB5, under 500. Tweet those votes to @SunSportsRays. We'll have the results in the Rays Live postgame show. Guys, back to you.
All right, Todd, thank you very much. As we take a peek into the future there to see what that poll comes back as. Escobar leads off the bottom of the 6th. Count is 1-1. The Rays facing veteran left-hander Mark Buehrle. Left a man on in the 2nd. Finally got a man into scoring position with a leadoff double in the 5th for Logan Forsythe, then left him aboard. So not much for the Rays offensively so far tonight. Escobar lays off the changeup and is ahead on the count 3-1. And ball 4, leadoff walk. So perhaps that's a start to something. The first walk given up by Buehrle. Buehrle has 6 strikeouts tonight.
We get that free base runner as you come around to the top of the order now for the 3rd time. And you hope that these Rays hitters have started to figure out Mark Buehrle and put something together. Only down by 2.
Desmond Jennings. Jennings 0 for 2. And he bunts, pushes it up the first baseline. He's going to be tagged there by Encarnacion. Escobar moves into second base.
Number 9, Bill Myers.
Now you see all that open room over there, and I think Desmond Jennings was going for a push bunt to try to get it by Buehrle for a base hit. Now it works out to be a sacrifice bunt, but there was a lot of room over there where if he kind of pushes that and gets it by the pitcher, that's going to be a base hit.
Yeah, you're right. That had to be the intent of that. Yep. And Buehrle is an outstanding defender on the mound, but if you had placed that where I think he'd like to, it would have been very difficult to get an out anywhere.
Well, that camera angle just showed you. I mean, first baseman Encarnacion holding him on, Buehrle on the mound, and then you saw nobody at second base as they were shading him up the middle. A lot of room out there for him to try to get there, but it didn't work out.
Two strikes. Buehrle is a Gold Glove fielding pitcher multiple times. 09, 10, 11, 12. R.A. Dickey won one last year. His teammate stopped his streak. Myers is out on strikes. Buehrle went right to work on him.
Well, he certainly did, just enticing him with the curveball early. You know, going off the plate 0-2 and then dropping it just beyond the plate on 1-2, and Will Myers just not able to hold up. You know, that ball just kind of hangs out there. Looks like you should be able to get to it. Never got there.
There's Ben Zobrist. He was called out on strikes in the 4th. Foul outside of 3rd. 7 strikeouts tonight for Buehrle. He's making his 430th start tonight. He has one game with 10-plus strikeouts. That was in April of 05 against Seattle when he had 12 strikeouts. 1-1 the count. Well, Peralta has joined Josh Lukey in the Rays bullpen. Chop left side. Laurie up with it. Pops to throw to first. Zobrist out of there. A nifty play by Laurie. And the Rays got the leadoff man on and eventually into scoring position, but could not get him home. So they leave a man at second base for the second consecutive inning. 2-0 Toronto on to the seventh. Seventh inning. Rays down by a couple to the Blue Jays. April 16th, two bitter rivals step in to coach. It's the UFC's next generation of fighters as they go head to head with a UFC contract on the line. The all new season of The Ultimate Fighter, Team Edgar versus Team Penn, begins April 16th only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Here's Josh Lukey on the pitch now for the Rays, their fourth pitcher of the night. Gomes came on, gave up an intentional walk, and McGee made one pitch to get Cabrera, leaving the bases loaded in the sixth. Now Lukey against Rasmus.
Well, if the Rays are going to come back and win this ball game, they're going to need another performance out of the bullpen like they got last night. 4 innings of giving up no runs, just one hit.
Lukey among the pitchers out of the bullpen. In last night's game, he pitched one scoreless inning, gave up a walk, picked up 2 strikeouts. Rasmus fouls the fastball back, 1-1.
It'd be nice to see Josh Lukey get off to a quick start here in April. Another valuable member of that bullpen. No question, he's got tremendous stuff. Has had a lot of success in the minor leagues.
It's a strike because he's shortened on the bat.
Just a well-located fastball there, right at the bottom of the zone.
You're right about Lukey. He's 29 years old. He's put up great numbers in the minors. I'm hoping to duplicate those numbers here in the big leagues. The shift is on with Longoria moving just to the first base side of second and Escobar alone on the left side. Full count. The Rays looking essentially for a stop out of Lukey to give the Rays an opportunity. Down by 2 runs. Fouled again, right back. Danger on deck in Jose Bautista. He has already homered tonight. And behind him, Encarnacion. 2 big incentives to not allow the leadoff man to reach. Rasmus flips the fly ball into right center. And Desmond Jennings puts it away. 1 gone in the 7th. Let's check in again with Todd.
Dwayne, I've got one of the best giveaway items of the year. I think it's going to be, at least. The Wil Myers bobblehead presented by Sagicor. This is going to go to the first 20,000 fans on Saturday. It's got a lot of details, as you would imagine. Little goatee, the flowing hair under the hat. And as you can see, he'll be the Rookie of the Year. He was Rookie of the Year last year. He'll get the award here Saturday prior to the game. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or go to RaysBaseball.com for your tickets, which leads us to a couple of website Wednesday questions or observations. One fan wants to know when the BA bobblehead's coming out. Another fan wants to know, why does it always look like with Wil Myers' hair he just woke up, guys?
First pitch is a strike to Bautista. Well, he never combs it to begin with.
There you go.
That's the reason.
That look is by design. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
If you've got it,
wear it. Hey, that's a strike 0-2. By the way, I would like to see you sit for the BA bobblehead so they can get the proper color.
That's a long way off. Stick with Wil Myers' hair.
0-2, fouled straight back into the deck just above us.
I'd rather have the BA's power finger, foam finger.
Oh, there.
Because then you can hold it up, go team, go, number 1, or you can use it to just get in someone's grill.
Just to make a point.
Right.
Not that you would get in anyone's grill. You would just effectively make a point.
Especially this year.
Assertively make a point. A ball, 2 strikes here on Bautista. Speaking of points, the Rays could use a few runs here tonight. Mookie working to the dangerous part of this lineup. We'll take the count to 2-2. Watches it sail away. Second home run of the night for Bautista, and it's 3-0. Bautista hit one out in the 4th inning. Connects again in the 7th. You can see his 22nd career multi-home run game.
Well, the second time tonight that he's gotten an off-speed pitch over the plate and has done damage. And Josh Lukey, that absolutely, his reaction lets you know. His too.
Here's Encarnacion. Under it, skies it toward right center, where Wil Myers sets up to make the catch for the second out. So now the deficit is 3. Leonardo Navarro turns around to bat from the left side now. Picked up an RBI single in their 2-run fourth. Solo home runs by Bautista and an RBI single by Navarro, providing all the runs we've seen tonight. Strike the count to Navarro. Blue Jay Ball Club has consistently been a home run hitting team over the last few years. They were 4th in the major leagues last year in home runs. And given all the home runs they've hit, they're pretty effective staying away from the strikeout. Navarro chops one foul. Still 2 strikes. They were, what, 6th lowest in strikeouts last year in the major leagues, and 4th in home runs.
Very impressive stat. A lot of Edward Encarnacion helps those numbers out quite a bit. Guys like that are usually worth 130, 140 strikeouts at least. He punched out just 62 times last year.
Still 0-2 to Navarro.
And that's why when you look at this Toronto Blue Jay Ball Club this year, they will make noise if their pitching gets the job done. Specifically the starters. They've got to set the tone. If they get good results, consistent results out of their starting rotation, this is a very dangerous team because they do have a lineup that's going to score runs, and they do have a very good bullpen.
Yep, and they have attempted to create some depth in their rotation. That's why last night's performance by Hutcherson was so important for them. And a base hit to center now for Navarro. We're down to get a low breaking ball on an 0-2 pitch. And he's 2 for 4.
Man, that was a really nice job there by Navarro. Off speed, down, and off the plate away. And again, doesn't try to do too much. Trying to backdoor that breaking ball, and he just flips out into left center field.
I want to say Sierra. Ball, no strikes. One and one. Three runs, 8 hits for the Blue Jays, and no runs, 2 hits for the Rays tonight. Two solo home runs by Bautista, leading the way for the Blue Jays. 1 and 2. He gave up 2 runs, and Gomes on to issue an intentional walk. McGee made one pitch to get Melky Cabrera in the 6th to leave the bases loaded. Luki in the 7th has been touched for a run. It's 2 and 2. 2-2. Chopper down to third. Longoria, front of the bag, makes the throw. 1 run scores for Toronto. It comes on the home run by Jose Bautista. It's 7th inning stretch time. The Rays need some runs. They're down 3-0. Brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. Rays half of the 7th inning coming up from Tropicana Field. They're down 3-0, facing the tough veteran left-hander Mark Buehrle. He's been on his game tonight. Only 70 pitches through 6 innings, 7 strikeouts. Walked 1 and has allowed 2 hits. Faces Evan Longoria. 1 ball, no strikes.
He's been very surgeon-like thus far, but it's not over yet.
Looper into shallow right's going to fall for a base hit. The Rays have a leadoff single. This is the 3rd consecutive inning now. They put the leadoff man on. So let's see if the 3rd time is indeed a charm.
They got to start putting something together now, running out of time and maybe running out of chances. You're not going to keep doing that, so you'd like to see him cash in, but maybe that soft little flare by Evan Longoria is what gets him going. Again, like we talked about last night, this 3-0 lead seems a little bit bigger than that just because of the way that Buehrle's been throwing, but they're a couple swings away.
Logan Forsythe had a single in the 2nd, a double in the 5th, so he has 2 of the 3 hits allowed. Martell up in the bullpen.
Buehrle looking to try to get Forsythe off balance, hit the ball into the ground.
Cecil, the left-hander, up now for the Blue Jays. Up the right side. Oh, what a pick by Encarnacion. Out at 2nd and back to 1st for 2. Can you believe that? An unbelievable pickup at 1st on that hot shot, and Encarnacion starts the double play with Goins in the middle.
Well, you know, Mark Buehrle looking for a double play. Would love to get one. I don't think he could have even dreamed this one up. This was a rocket. Play by Encarnacion to start the old 1-6 or 3-6-3 double play.
Came off the bag after holding the runner, and that hot shot came right to him. And he wasted a little time in starting the double play. And just like that, the bases are empty. with 2 outs for James Loney. Strike 1 to Loney. Well, that ball off the bat of the right-handed hitter Forsythe, normally with a little reverse English to it, a little slice. I think, well, maybe you'll get that between the defender and the bag, but he was on the bag to begin with.
Well, I think his approach that entire at bat, he had the whole right side to work with. And I think that the way that Buehrle was pitching him, he was looking to hit the ball the other way. What are you going to do? A couple feet off the line, a bullet shot that could have very easily gotten by him. Just a heck of a play.
Well, right now, as the Rays try to mount some kind of comeback, that's the play of the game from the Rays' point of view, because if that does get by them, the Rays are cooking with gas. Now 2-2 to Loney. Full count. Sean Rodriguez hoping to get a chance to swing the bat here in the 7th inning. Into center. Asmus going back. He'll have room. And the Rays are out in the 7th. Again, leadoff man on. They do not score. Jose Bautista, 2 big blows in this game. 4th time in his career that he's had a 2-home run game versus the Rays, the 22nd time overall. Meanwhile, Mark Buehrle has been masterful. 7 innings of 3-hit shutout baseball. Walked only 1, 7 strikeouts. And the game moves into the 8th inning. So Buehrle has had his way tonight. And the Rays, who were shut out last night for 7 innings until they got a run in the 8th and a major threat in the 9th. They scored a run then and left the potential tying run in scoring position to end the game. Tonight they're down by 3 as we go to the 8th, and Heath Bell takes over on the mound. Lukey worked 1 inning and gave up the 1 run.
Heath Bell had a nice debut with the Rays. Yesterday's ball game.
Brett Lawrie hits it on the ground to short. 1 pitch and 1 out. Quickly done there by Bell.
You know, the thing with Buehrle too is, you know, as good as that Toronto bullpen is, as good as Buehrle's throwing, you say, you know what, maybe you'd like to get into that bullpen and get him off the mound, but his pitch count, you know, I mean, that is
just a little over 80.
There you go. Absolutely assuming that he's going back out there.
Astros looks at a strike. Two. Foul ball. You know, we talked about Buehrle and how quickly he works. Example, he'll throw a complete game in a little over 2 hours. And in the innings that the Rays have been up, their longest inning, including breaks between innings, 7 minutes. He hasn't been out there on the mound more than 7 minutes in an inning tonight.
That is by design, and that's the key indicator of a typical Mark Buehrle outing. I mean, he gets it, throws it. When he's able to rack up quick outs like he's done, you're going to have very quick half innings.
Back to the middle off the 0-2 pitch. Astros has a base hit. 1 out single. Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live. The pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Archer visits Fort Bragg and Balfour's return to the Rays. We'll be with you at 6:30 with our pregame coverage tomorrow. Prior to Game 4, the wrap-up game of this series between the Rays and the Blue Jays. Chris Archer goes to the mound against Brandon Morrow. Texas in for the weekend. Goins pitches a strike. Goins entered the game as a pinch runner in the 6th when Lynn pinch hit and was intentionally walked. Shortstop. Escobar to second. 1, and on the exchange, getting the ball out of the glove, it pops away. So Astros is out on a force. Goins reaches on a fielder's choice.
This was going to be a tough turn here as Ben Zobrist is coming across. You can see quick with the transition. And the bare hand just not able to keep that baseball under control. Never got a grip on it.
Gives Melky Cabrera another trip to the plate. He's 2 for 4 tonight. Just the fastball up. Three 9-0 now for Toronto. 0-3-0 for the Rays. Top half of the 8th inning. Blocked by Molina.
Very, very well done there by Jose Molina to block that ball, keep it in front of him, keep Goins down there at first base. You know, 2 outs here, top of the order up. Maybe a situation where they look to send Goins, and certainly had an opportunity to move up there on a very difficult pitch to handle, but Molina does it nicely. Obviously, Heath Bell and his experience at closing and pitching the back end of a bullpen. He understands the importance of controlling the running game from that spot and does a very nice job of it.
Lined into right field. Myers on the run. Makes a nice catch. Blue Jays are retired in the 8th. Sean Rodriguez due to open the bottom of the 8th. Rays down by 3. Has been vintage Mark Buehrle. 14 pitches in the 4th, his highest pitch count inning of the night.
It says it all.
And the first pitch strike in to Sean Rodriguez. Front skies it deep but well foul. 0-2.
Now this is where we've seen Mark Buehrle, speed up a guy in there with a cutter and then either go back away with something off speed. That's exactly what he's going to do.
And a strike call. Call third strike. Second time Rodriguez has been caught looking tonight.
And there's not much you're going to be able to do with this pitch right here. He gets him sped up on that pitch in and off the plate, then goes right back away, and look where it's located, right on the corner.
Jose Molina will be lifted, and Brandon Guyer will come out to pinch hit. Ball, no strikes. One. Outs become precious now. One out in the 8th. The Rays are down by 3. 28-year-old rookie Brandon Guyer. Guyer been up in limited parts of 2 seasons. Guyer's played all 3 outfield positions this spring. In a pinch could play third. The Rays hope that it never comes to that. And he's out on strikes.
I mean, you've watched it all night, and it's so tough for a hitter to deal with. I don't care what the miles per hour are. He gets you leaning out over the plate, then able to take an 81-mile-an-hour fastball that catches probably more plate than he wanted and just completely lock up a hitter. And we've seen him do it numerous times tonight. Just a great feel for pitching, and that's why I'm not going to wow you with lighting up radar guns, but boy, oh boy, can he flat out dominate with his stuff.
Escobar takes a strike. Nine strikeouts tonight for Mark Buehrle. And that puts him ahead of Escobar. Take a look at this one.
Dance around the strike zone all night. Sometimes you get those calls. That ball clearly off. That was a cutter that just really took off. That one he tries to catch that back door. Do it again.
And strike three call. So he strikes out the side. All three called third strikes, and he has 10 on the night. 1, 2, 3, go the Rays. 3-0 Toronto. And after all of that, we move into the ninth inning with Toronto leading the Rays 3-0. Just 3 hits tonight for the Rays against Mark Buehrle, who has 10 strikeouts in double figures in strikeouts in a game for only the second time in his career, this being his 430th career start. Bautista with 2 home runs. And Grant Balfour last year with Oakland, 38 out of 41 in save opportunities. Pitch to Rasmus is a strike. Ryan Hannigan takes over behind the plate.
New battery. Grant Balfour, have not seen him in the first 2 games and won't let him sit out there for too long. See right now Ryan Hannigan and Grant Balfour talking That was a sequence that was just completely out of rhythm. Grant Balfour asking for a lot of pitches, shaking off Hannigan and Bunch, and then yanks that fastball right off the toe of Rasmus.
Sergio Santos take over. Snowing in the bullpen, starting to get loose, just in case. This one skipping by Hannigan and all the way to the backstop. Ball one to Bautista, and Rasmus moves up to second.
The last two fastballs here by Balfour missed badly. Yanked that one right into the ground, skipped it by Hannigan.
Suddenly, runner in scoring position for the Blue Jays. Up to it, that ball's out of play. One and one. Bautista's numbers lifetime against Grant. Bautista on 3 times tonight with a walk and 2 home runs. Officially 2 for 3. Bautista now down in the count. Balfour up 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And that was a sharp slider there by Grant Balfour. 85 miles an hour, and that's one thing that you're going to see the Grant Balfour this time around here in Tampa Bay. Works those pitches over a little bit more. A lot of fastballs the first time through. A couple years later now, more of a complete pitcher.
2 and 2, and if he has to, he has the full complement of pitches now. Can still get fired up out there. He'll bring that emotion with him to the mound, but he also brings a wider selection of pitches if he needs to go in that direction.
We had a good shot of him last night sitting down there in the bullpen with the scouting book wide open. You know, just taking a look at the hitters again, has a much better idea of what these guys are trying to do and how he can best combat it.
Jays with the leadoff man on and in scoring position in the 9th. Stop with a cover up with a slider in the dirt. Good job by Hannigan, and the count is full. Matt Moore started for the Rays. Gomes, McGee, Lukey, Bell, and Balfour. Balfour making his first appearance of the year. It's fouled back. I'm sure Balfour anticipating a little different scenario for him to get into his first game of the year than this one. The Rays are down, trying to hold the Blue Jays and give the Rays one more shot in their final at bat in the 9th. (3-2) again, and ball 4. The first 2 men are on base. Hit batter, and now the walk. Time now for you to tweet your photo using #RaysFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. Encarnacion doubled and scored way back in the 4th. 1 for 4 on the night and 1 for 12 in the series. Into right field. Myers in line with it to make the catch. Tag at second. Rasmus advances over to third base, first and third with 1 out. Now it'll be Navarro stepping in.
Navarro's had it. Well, you see right there a couple of singles tonight, one from the right side and one from the left side.
Cesar Ramos up in the bullpen.
And this is that fine line that you walk, because you wanted to get Grant Balfour into a game. Been sitting down there, like I said, for 3 nights. But at the same time, you don't want to extend him so far that he's going to be unavailable for a potential save situation tomorrow night. So that's why you see Ramos up.
Waiting on you. Waiting on you.
An infield chopper here and get right out of it.
Yep. Navarro takes it out of the zone. Ball 1.
Navarro, most of his damage last year was done from the right side, a bit more susceptible from the left side, but a couple of nice at-bats earlier in this game.
That's a strike. 1. And at first and third without the benefit of a hit. 1 out. High ball, not overly deep to left. Caught by Rodriguez. The runners will hold. So Navarro is the second out. The Rays now have a chance to get out of this thing, holding the Blue Jays right where they are. Jose Sierra, the designated hitter. 3 ground balls and a strikeout tonight, giving him an 0 for 4 evening to this point. Balfour up to 14 pitches in this inning. He gets a cut and a miss. Sierra swinging over that pitch.
You see that slider right there. You know, you could almost call that a cutter too. The movement. It's very subtle. It's hard. Comes out of the hand. Looks like a fastball. Just that little bit of action at the end.
Into the dirt. Runner takes off from first. Bautista alertly advances. Hannigan blocked the pitch. And another wild pitch assessed. Second of the inning.
Yeah, and that's a pitch out of the hand where a catcher's like, uh-oh. You got to slide out and try to cover up as best you can. A runner on third, another run potentially for the Blue Jays. Nice job by Hannigan to cover it up.
2 men in scoring position now. The bigger hitter in this situation. 1 and 2.
Now that looked more like a traditional slider. There was good tilt on this pitch at the end. Get some depth to it. I don't know why you wouldn't stay right with it. Try to finish off Sierra and get the Rays one last chance.
He lays off. He did come back with that same pitch. 2 and 2. Count is full. Balfour getting close to his pitch limit here. His next pitch will be his 20th.
And Ryan Hannigan getting a workout. A couple of fastballs early in the inning, a couple of sliders here to Sierra.
Second and third, 2 gone. 3-2 to Sierra. He fouls that one. 3-2 slider.
We've seen a ton of those in this at bat for good reason. Sierra's swung over a couple, and that would obviously entice you to continue on with that pitch. Now you've got very little margin for error with it.
And he gets him. Strikes him out. Came back with a fastball. Leaving runners at second and third. Rays go into the bottom of the ninth. Needing 3 to tie, 4 to win. Final shot here in the bottom of the ninth. Reminder coming up on Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers. After this game, Todd DeRestis will anchor the coverage. We'll break down this performance by Mark Buehrle. Joe Maddon's press conference. Kelly Nash will have interviews from the Rays clubhouse.
Leading off the ninth inning for the Rays, the center fielder, number 8,
96 pitches. Only the second time with 10 or more strikeouts in an outing. Buehrle is looking for his 30th career complete game. and his 10th career shutout. Twice he has shut out the Rays. Once was that no-hitter, the perfect game we mentioned in 09. He had a one-hitter against the Rays in 2001. First pitch to Desmond Jennings, strike one. Boy, that one just completely disappeared. 0-2.
Well, you're starting to see some frustration swings, and that was one from Desmond Jennings. These Rays hitters looking to do something. Somebody trying to get it started. Mark Buehrle taking advantage of that.
Only shooting the outside corner that stayed away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two. Santos has taken over the closer's role. Jennings bounds it. And strike 3 called. 4th consecutive strikeout. All 4 in that stretch. Called 3rd strikes.
Well, he just continued to entice Jennings away, off speed, and then frees you with 81.
11 strikeouts tonight for Buehrle.
Ball game like this, 3-run lead later in the game. A lot of guys will stay away from that inner half of the plate. That just shows you what Buehrle thinks about his night and his stuff and his ability to command the zone with everything that he's throwing.
Tapper to short. Goins up and out with the throw, and Myers goes down on the ground ball. 2 up, 2 down. And we're headed into the 3rd spot here in the Rays order. Ben Zobrist trying to keep the game going. Zobrist has struck out once. He's 0 for 3. He takes a soft strike. The breaking ball registered below 70. One and one. Two balls and a strike. Swinging right through that one. 2 and 2.
It's been all night long. Everything that he's gone with. This here is a changeup. Location not great. Arm speed was awesome. That's what allowed him to get that swing and a miss.
And a line drive off the glove of Laurie and into left. The Rays are still alive. A liner just to the left of Laurie. They got the glove up there, but it deflected into left. That's going to be a base hit.
Well, we've seen Brett Laurie make a number of flashy plays tonight, but not able to come up with that line drive, and that may cost Mark Buehrle a chance here for a complete game. May end his night.
John Gibbons comes out to make the change. Back after this. left-hander. Very, very good tonight and will not get his complete game.
Now getting to double digits in strikeouts for just the second time in his career with the fastball was topping about 83, 84 miles an hour. Just lets you know how dominant he was with his location, his mix, his ability to pitch to both sides of the plate, his willingness to pitch to both sides of the plate with that. He was masterful tonight.
And you know in his gut he would love to be out there right now after putting that line together. Santos in the game to face Evan Longoria. First pitch is a high fastball. And Zobrist moves to second. They were not holding him, so he moves up on indifference. It's 1-1. Evan came up with the double in the ninth inning of last night's game when the Rays fell 2 runs short. There is ball 2. Cecil, the left-hander, up in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. Forsythe due next, but Matt Joyce is already on deck. And ball 3 is inside, 3-1. There's Matt Joyce.
Just begging for an opportunity. Maybe should get something good to hit here.
He takes a cut. Fouls it back.
He certainly got something good to hit. Now the difference is you got a 94-mile-an-hour fastball with some late life on it, but boy, oh boy, he takes a big rip.
So the count is full. Rays need another base runner to have a chance to extend this one. Down by 3, 2 outs in the ninth. Zobrist at second. And they get that base runner. Longoria draws the walk against Santos.
Like I said, I think the Rays wanted to get into that bullpen, as good as it may be. It took them 8 2/3 innings to do it, but here's their chance.
Matt Joyce announced, and John Gibbons popping out of the dugout. He wants the lefty. Santos gives up a walk and will be back in a moment. Joyce on to pinch hit for Forsythe. So it will be lefty on lefty. Cecil, an all-star performer last year.
Very, very good. More than a strikeout an inning. You see right there with the 70 strikeouts and 60 in 2/3 innings, holding opponents to a 2.01 average. And here you go. Matt Joyce with an opportunity here to draw the Rays closer.
The pitch is a strike. Zobrist at second and Longoria at first. See Matt 0 for 5 with a couple strikeouts in his career against Cecil. 0-2. Puts Matt in the hole.
Matt probably like to see this one again. That hung up there a little bit. Cecil not able to get all the way out in front and over the top of that pitch.
A ball, 2 strikes.
Make sure he got out in front on that one. Yanked that right into the dirt. You know, it's funny too, Brett Cecil, a former starting pitcher. You see some of these guys, they go out to the bullpen and just kind of fade away. Other guys go out there and really just take it to a different level and really flourish in that role. He's one of them. It's allowed him to basically go out there and narrow the focus. You don't have to worry about covering so many innings. Can just go in attack, and stuff has gotten more crisp, velocity better.
And a swing and a miss. Joyce out on strikes. And this game is over. A combination shutout tonight. And the Toronto Blue Jays have taken game 3 of the series. 3-0 as Mark Buehrle will get the win. He was masterful. Cecil will get a save, and Matt Moore will suffer the loss. So a strikeout ends it. Cecil got ahead of Joyce, strikes him out. And so the Rays are 1-2. The Blue Jays now 2-1. 3-0 the final. Back in a moment.